So welcome to today's meditation time. Let's just allow ourselves just to settle for these first few breaths. And when it begins to feel right, you can close your eyes and just allow your body to feel grounded, to feel safe and secure and rooted. If you're seated, really anchor through that seat. If you're lying down, really just press your shoulder blades, your back into that space. And just allow yourself to almost be held by whatever configuration of the earth is beneath you. If it's represented by a chair or the floor or the bed, just feel the way that you are supported. We go through our day feeling unbalanced and shaky and insecure, all different points in the day. And so maybe this stability that we cultivate here can be something that we take with us, so that no matter what tomorrow has or the day after that, we'll have this sense from this moment right here that we're grounded, we're safe, we're secure, we're rooted. So just start to lower your gaze if your eyes are still open and just start to really relax into the space. And begin to find a rhythm of breath that feels good. There's not a length that's right or wrong. You find the rhythm that feels nourishing to you. And then just notice that breath coming in, and then notice it going out. And just notice what it feels like to pause. We've been exploring through our time the last few weeks this idea of peace, this elusive concept of peace, and how we cultivate it in our lives. And so today, I want to state the obvious. And the obvious is, change is real. It happens every day in our lives. And if there's anything that would make us feel less rooted, less safe, less secure, less balanced, it's change. And so it's really important in our practice that we find the grounding through our seat, through that spot where the earth is just holding us. Because there's a really good chance that in the next moments when we finish this time and in tomorrow that something's going to change. The one thing we know about life is the impermanence of all the things around us. And even if the change is something we were anticipating and looking forward to, it's still change. And so I want to just recognize that, because as we seek peace, we do really well when we're here and we're still and we're grounded and we're quiet. But how do we have peace in the midst of this inevitable change? Change is not always the big things. It's not always the change of a job or a relationship or moving to a new place. Yesterday we had this moment when the temperature said one thing, and within just minutes, the wind began to blow, the sky began to darken, and 20 minutes later, the temperature was almost 20 degrees cooler. That's change. And while we do look forward to cooler days, it still does something to us when the barometric pressure changes that fast, when the sky turns dark. And there's this moment inside of our spirit that we feel a little shaky because something has changed. We change from season to season, from different points in our life. We grow, we learn, and that's change. And so I really want us to think about this idea of how, in the midst of all the change that we've already experienced, that we're experiencing now, and that we will continue to experience, how can we be peaceful? Peace is not just this thing that we think about in meditation. It is a state of being. And I want to assure us that it is possible. It is so very possible in our loud, busy lives, amidst all the change, to have our state of being be one of peace. There's this quote that talks about this idea of change. It's from one of the great spiritual teachers, and he says, you can buy new clothes, but at the end of the day, it's the same person wearing them. You can buy new shoes. It's the same feet tucked inside of them. You can buy a new car, but the person behind the wheel is the same person that bought the car before it was new. And what he was saying is we keep trying to do all these things externally around us to find peace. We look around and we think if that situation could be different, or if this person could be kinder, or if life could just slow down for a second, or if I could just get, and you fill in the blank. But he says all of that's just like trying to put on a pair of shoes on the same old feet. Trying to put on a new coat on the same old body. He says if you really want to find peace, it doesn't happen on the external, because the external is where all this change is coming. The external is where all these things are so impermanent. If you want to have a state of being of peace, you got to go inward. There is change and transformation that happens within us. But that's the kind of change that keeps us steady and grounded. It's not the kind of change out in the world where we just wait for the next shoe to drop or the next thing to come. This change, it's deep. And it's got a permanence that abides and lasts. There are scriptures in all the great belief systems across the world that we all know of. And each of these scriptures has some form of a statement that talks about abiding peace. We hear it from the Buddha. We read it in the Bible. We hear it in the text of the Torah. There are so many belief systems teaching us that as you work toward this cultivation of peace within, it abides. It's not like the change that's happening at work tomorrow or in your family right now or in your home. It's this deeply rooted source that never leaves. We tend to move away from it with the situations of life, but the peace abides. And so I asked us when we began to really feel whatever configuration of the earth is holding us in place. For me, it's a chair. Maybe you're on the ground, on the sofa, on the bed. But as solid as that spot feels for these moments that we have, I would tell you that the peace we cultivate within is so much more solid, can hold us so much better. It abides. And so I would ask each of us for these few minutes that we have to just sit and just reflect. Are you ready to have this abiding peace within you? Are you ready to let it just persist when all the change is happening around you? And are you tired of just responding to the change like yesterday's weather? Because by the time you respond to one thing, it's changing again. what if we work on cultivating this steady, abiding peace within? So how do we do it? Well, we've done the first step. We've shown up. We've closed our eyes. We've lowered our gaze. We've shut out the distractions for just a few moments. And now what I'd like us to do is little by little, breath by breath, see if we can find our way to this deeper space within us. The space where permanence lives, where peace abides, where the changing situations of our work and our friends and our family members don't impact it. Yes, change still frustrates us. And some of it's hard and really challenging, and some of it's just annoying, and some of it's invigorating. But what if you could navigate all of it with the steadiness, the abiding nature of this state of peace that you're nurturing right here? I know from a health perspective, our nervous system is craving that. Every time it has to react to the change around us, it gets a little more tired, a little more frayed. I know that our digestive system is craving it as well. It wants to let go of things that are not good for us so that we feel vibrant and light. And I could go through all the systems of the body. The circulation is craving this peace so that our blood flows evenly, filled with prana, this life-giving energy force as we breathe. All that to say is that every part of us is craving peace. We'll sleep better. Our immune system will be stronger. Our patience will be greater. So how could we not invest in that? So we're going to cultivate a little more peace. See if we can catch a glimpse of it inside of us. And we're going to do that with our breath. It's not a magical trick. It's not something unattainable. It's with us all the time. Thich Nhat Hanh used to tell us that the breath is the bridge back. The peace didn't leave. We just crossed over this bridge and walked away from it. And it's that same breath that will bring us back. And so if it feels comfortable for you, you could put a hand on your belly, a hand on your heart. You can let your hands just rest. You do whatever feels right. But I want us to find some of the biggest, most expansive breaths that we can find. And then give ourselves a chance to fully exhale each of them out. And just notice how we feel as we do it. And let's just see if we can cultivate just a little more peace. So take a slow, deep breath in. Almost to the point that you feel like you can't take any more. And then slowly sigh it out. Let it all go. And again, a deep, deep breath in. And sigh it out. And a big breath in. And a big breath out. And now let's seal our lips, breathing in again, a big deep breath. And this time let's breathe out through our nose. And slowly in. And slowly out. And then let's just each continue just the biggest inhales that we can take in. Feel the expansiveness. And then be just as intentional with the big breath out. And for these couple just moments of stillness and quiet, just let the sound be your breath, cultivating, nurturing, pointing you to that peace. And if you've got a hand on your heart or a hand on your belly, just let the hands relax. And now let your breath just go back to what we call the tidal breath, just the natural flow of the in and the out. And let's each just check in and notice how we feel. See if there's a lightness of being. See if you can feel the vibrancy of what that breath gives you. And then see if you can imagine yourself, just picture in your mind. If there's change that you're going through right now, circumstantial, whatever it is, see if you can see yourself going through it from a place of peace. See if you can imagine yourself going to work tomorrow or running your errands or whatever your schedule is made up of, and see if when part of that schedule or that work day, something unexpected comes and it kind of turns things upside down. See if you can imagine yourself navigating it from this place of peace. See someone in your life in the next few days disappointing you, frustrating you. And see if you can imagine yourself, just picture it, navigating that frustration, that annoyance from this place of peace. It does become a state of being, but first we've got to practice it again and again and again, until all of a sudden you look up one day and you realize that's your default way of living and being. And it's not a way of being for the monks on the side of the mountain. It is possible, this abiding peace in our busy, noisy, crazy lives. We got to see it. We got to nurture it, and then we got to practice living it out. The word for peace in Sanskrit is Shanti, so let's close our practice with just the repetition of that just a few times. Shanti, 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 Shanti. Namaste.